if you have had a successful economic model for 40 years, based essentially on this, labor-intensive manufacturing for export, plus increasing opportunities for the Chinese private sector against a retreating state-owned sector, plus decreased role for state planning, plus greater economic integration with the rest of the world, with both trade and investment flows, and integration with global supply chains, both inwards and outwards. And if that's produced for you double-digit growth for 40 years, then why would you change it? Not a bad question, even though I've just asked it myself.
Would you care to answer it as well?
Yeah, I'm going to try and answer it too. because I've tried to figure this out, which is why do that? Now, the economists will answer the question. You get to a point in the economic development cycle where you actually have to flip, and you have to move from labour-intensive manufacturing for export, for example, because unit labour costs go up, and as a consequence, models have to change. So they did this on paper in what's called the decision, the 决定, of 2013. And this was 1 year into Xi Jinping's rule, where they identified a new economic growth model, but which was along these lines, which is number one, greater productivity growth, number two, an explosion in the Chinese services sector beyond manufacturing, number three, on top of that, even greater space for the private sector based on the principles of competitive neutrality to occupy more of the space occupied by the Chinese state-owned sector. Four, less reliance on the infrastructure build in the country to generate growth, which had been another large part of the model phase one. And five, maximise your integration further with the global economy. So in other words, it was still within a market frame, not a statist frame. There was a next stage of, let's call, market economics, given the structure of the Chinese economy. So we all looked at that, and we said, this is sensible, it's reformist. It will make China, by the end of the 2020s, the largest economy in the world. So why did they change? Politics. Because, remember I said before, it's a Marxist-Leninist party. If you apply a model like that over a long enough period of time, you create a whole bunch of new elites in the country who are independent of party control. The entrepreneurial class, typified by Jack Ma, the head of Alibaba, larger-than-life Jack, I know him well, head of what was one of the largest companies in the world until the Chinese Communist Party killed the stock price. Xi Jinping looked at this long and hard and said, these guys are ultimately a challenge to the absolute control of the Chinese Communist Party. And as a consequence, if I look carefully at the ideological unfolding of Xi Jinping's last 5 years in office since 2017, coming out of the 19th Party Congress, you see this range of new measures which are much more restrictive towards the private sector. Party committees in private firms, the so-called mixed economy model, whereby you're a successful private firm, sir, you're running a state-owned enterprise, madam, I think we should merge you, which would of course make you unhappy and may make you happier. Or there's a non-performing state-owned enterprise over here, a brilliant private firm there. You can merge so that you can use your profitability to offset the losses of this state-owned behemoth. A new invigoration of industrial policy writ large, a new reinvigoration of planning writ large. And on top of that, again, certainly in the last year or two, what's called the Common Prosperity Agenda, 共同富裕, if you speak Chinese. And what that is code language for is wealth redistribution from the entrepreneurial class to workers. So all of that has been his ideological correction to bring about a more equal China in his ideological view, but frankly, to bring the entrepreneurial class under political control. That, I think, is the essence of the agenda.
朋友都知道我是很挑剔的，防晒乳我选 KISS 皇家呵护抗光清爽高防晒凝露，因为它有媲美蓝光神盾的抓藻植萃，保护我在阳光下延缓肌肤老化，维持青春弹力。可以防御工作环境里的3C 商品，各种光源对肌肤的伤害，擦起来清爽不黏腻。我特别喜欢它做到海洋友善，365天，天天抗光抗老化，是我的保养日常。你呢？呵护您，呵护全家人，专属你的 KISS Royal Care 抗光清爽高防晒凝露。